Hey, what up, Internet? I'm here with Sean from Silence Embrace.
Hello, how we doing?
Not too bad. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
So, Silence Embrace, where did that come from, that name?
I had this idea about being a voice for the voiceless.
Hmm.
I wrote a song about it. I don't even think I ever released it, but yeah, it was about like giving voice, to the voiceless.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So I feel like your sound is kind of like this weird, eclectic, dark electro, modern, but also like an old school industrial sound. Like, how'd you develop that?
I don't know, I'm always kind of experimenting in songs.
Hmm.
Like there is a sound that I like, from that era. Like I'm really into that late 80s, early 90s industrial sound, and I,
Right.
I typically gravitate towards that a lot. But I don't know, I try to rethink different ways to approach it, like I'll sing a couple of different layers
Hmm.
differently. I've introduced like mantras and chants, in some of the tracks.
Hmm.
I mean, I don't know, it's nice when you can have a song that kind of resonates in a couple different ways, like
Right.
so I kind of use the different layering to kind of convey that idea. I don't know.
Hmm. All right. So, let's talk about the single "Blood Money" that came out in January, right?
Yes.
So, is that
Oh
just a
no,
single?
actually
Or
I think that was in February.
it might have been.
Yeah, I was like mid to late February.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
I saw.
prior to that, I'm always dropping stuff. I dropped
Mhm.
a cover of Spiritual Cramp in December.
I saw that.
A friend of mine, Morgan Irvine, he helped me mix down some of the tracks and kind of turn down some snare levels.
Mhm.
My biggest issue, man, is I'm always drowning everything in too much reverb. It's nice to have somebody kind of pull you back a little bit and be like, "Hey, do you realize this isn't the 1980s? Pull that reverb back a little bit." Sounded too much like that trash can snare. We don't need another Saint Anger.
Hey, over in the comments, my buddy Kyler. How's it going, bud? Right. So, is Blood Money just a single, or are you working on like a full album?
It's a single.
Okay.
Um, I dropped an album last year. I always feel like the hardest thing with albums is they don't always pull a lot of traction. Not a lot of people want to
Yeah.
sit through a full 40-minute, hour
I
long album.
I hate
I mean,
that.
I
I'm very
do.
much an album person, so
I
I'm
am
just
too.
like,
I am too. I don't know. I was gonna try doing this single thing this year, but I'll
mhm.
probably just after I'm done with like 6 or 7 tracks, I'm probably just gonna do it as like a comp of the year. So it will kind of become an album, I'm sure.
Mhm. All right. So tell me a little bit about this image for
Blood
the
money.
single.
I just kind of was doing some collage work. We took a couple snapshots of um I'm pretty sure it was Elon in there, and it's kind
Mhm.
of glitched out in the background. I just I don't know. I had wrote the song initially in Trump's first term,
Mhm.
so I felt like it was kind of now or never. I mean, the song couldn't be more relevant to now than the first term.
Absolutely.
Um, just it's ridiculous the rights and freedoms we're losing every day. I don't know. It just felt like it was the time to drop that song.
Absolutely. I noticed there's like a little bit of like just a few seconds of like spoken word at the beginning of the track. Was that what was that? Was that you? Was that something else?
Oh no, I do a lot of sampling.
Okay.
That actually came from the Count of Monte Cristo or
Okay.
County Cristo. Yeah, it was weird because I had to look it up myself because I originally worked on that song in 2017, 2018,
Mhm.
and we only recently just revised it. So I was like, what was I thinking this day? Because usually I'm pretty easy to pick out when it comes to samples. It's like,
Mhm.
oh, it's from a horror movie. Like 90%
Right.
of the time it's like, oh, it's from a horror movie. or I'm every now and then I'll resample something that's really esoteric, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it took me a minute to be like, I was from Count of Monte Cristo. Like, I must have just been bored and just like downloaded a random sample that day. It worked though.
No, definitely. So why did you title it Blood Money? You know, there are plenty of ways you could have gone with it. Why
Yeah,
did you go that way?
I don't. Well, everything always kind of seems like in politics, you know, we're either leaning towards peace or we're leaning towards war, and
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like, you know, we're kind of on the forefront of just everybody trying to be out for themselves and just make money and more money. And
Yeah.
I mean, they don't care. They don't seem to care who it hurts or who it affects. So that's why I called it blood money. It just made the most sense.
Makes sense. So are you working on new stuff?
Yeah. Oh my God. I think I've got 3 or 4 more tracks in the making. One's already done.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my friend and I, Morgan, he he did this really awesome cover of Angel from Lumpscott, and
Okay.
I was like, I really like this. I think we could probably layer it and shorten it down a little bit. But it's still a pretty long cover. Like I think the original song is only like 4 minutes and 30 seconds.
Yeah, it's definitely not a long one.
The one we're doing, it's like 6.5, 7 minute ballad. I mean, it's always kind of been a ballad, but I don't know. We hit it with some different layers, and I gave it a lot more emotion to it.
Mm-hmm.
I try to incorporate a layer in my music that's, you know, clean singing. I mean, you get a lot more out of it than just being filtered out, which I do love adding so many filters. But
Mm-hmm.
um, and I've been doing some dance stuff recently. I I don't know. I'm always kind of doing stuff in a slower tempo because I don't know. I've always been kind of more of a sludge guy, so I
Mm-hmm.
kind of like that slower pitched, you know, like dungeon synthy kind of sound. But I like
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
dance too. I mean, it's nice to do a dance track, you know, that kind of gets people up and moving.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, I
Definitely.
mean, it's great to clean too.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So, what are some of the first industrial music or like dark electro or anything that you remember hearing that like had a big impact on you?
uh, probably, Oh man, that's a
Sorry.
hard question. There's so many different bands I listen to. I'm like, oh man, I like what these guys are doing today.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, I feel like a lot of the gateways for me into what I like doing probably would be like Joy Division and New Order and then Skinny Puppy. That was kind of
Mm-hmm.
like the order I discovered a lot of that stuff. But I like the way Ian Curtis, you know, conveys so much emotion in
Mm-hmm.
his delivery, you know. It's crazy when just the tone of voice is enough to really like hear somebody's anguish and pain, you know. I just always thought that that
Absolutely.
was a beautiful thing.
If you could collaborate with any artist, who would you pick?
Uh living or passed on.
Do you know what? I don't care. If you could work with a ghost, who would you work with?
I would say if we're talking about living, man, it'd be sick to do a collab with Kevin Key. I love Skinny
Yeah, I
Puppy.
would.
Kevin Key would be awesome. Uh I made this joke recently because I'm always looking up different synths, and I was like, if it's for Kevin Key, it's for me.
I
uh,
like that.
but passed on, I would have to say, um, man, Genesis Pure, just like TV. I've always liked what he did with early industrial and Throb and Gristle, and of
Mm-hmm.
course, I don't know. I've always favored more of his psychic TV stuff because it's more about love than war. I like that about it, you know.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any live shows booked for this year?
Not yet. I'm hoping on
Okay.
working on something. I've kind of shot some messages around. I'd like to get another gig at Frankie's in Toledo. I just really like the venue a lot. No Class is really cool in Cleveland. I played there last year with Street Fever, and he really put on a heck of a show.
Mm-hmm. All right. Over in the comments, Kyler says, "Have you ever thought about adding pinch harmonics to your songs?"
Like from guitar tracks?
I have no idea. Kyler, is that what you meant, bud? While he's getting back to you on that, if you were ice cream, what flavor would you be?
Blue Moon or Scooperman ice cream. I don't know.
What?
Superman ice cream.
No, I
Myers version's called Scooperman. I don't know. Always seems to stick in my head.
Okay. Kyler says, yeah, he was asking about guitars.
I've been trying to incorporate more stuff as of late with guitar because I feel like I'm kind of going in a more like progressive, more guitar oriented sound. So, I mean, but sometimes I don't know. Sometimes I feel like some tracks are just good dance tracks. They don't always necessarily need guitar. But I feel like more aggressive tracks, you need guitar to convey that level of emotion. If that makes sense.
That makes sense. All right. What social medias are you on? Where can people follow you?
You can find me Sean Silence 222 at Instagram. I'm also on. I don't do Twitter at all. I'm also on Facebook. I go by Sean Silence on there, or you could just follow the page directly as Silence Embrace. I've also got, I believe I set up a link tree. There's a master link out there. I forgot the service, but if you look up, it's all my links. Sean Silence at all my links. It's got a short bio on there and kind of give you an idea of what I do.
I think there's a link to most of it from Bandcamp, I think.
Yeah. I think I cross-linked all my links through there too.
Yeah. All right, cool. Was there anything else you wanted to talk about, or is that about cover it?
I think that about covers it.
All right. Last but not least, what do you have to say to anyone who watches this? Some inspirational or degrading message. It doesn't matter. Whatever you want to say.
Get some gear, make some music.
There we go. I like it. All right. Thank you so much for hopping on.
All right.
Yep. Bye.
All right. Bye.